thank you and welcome to the July Gender Equity Commission meeting. You are seeing the recorded version that is up on our city channel. Unfortunately, we were not able to present live today. There's a very important city council meeting happening, and that right now we know what people are watching live. And so hopefully you'll able to watch this, to share it. A lot of great information is being shared today, but thank you for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the commissioner roll call. Commissioner Coffey.
Present.
Commissioner Davidson. There you are.
Present. It's muted. It's very far away. The button is very far away. So.
You're good. Commissioner Gross is not here, probably at that important city council meeting. Commissioner Hale.
Present.
Commissioner Hall is not with us. Commissioner Hanson.
Present.
Commissioner Higginbotham.
You can't hear me if I'm on mute. Present.
Great.
Sorry about that.
It's okay. Commissioner Corbel is not here. Commissioner Manuel.
Present.
Commissioner Newman.
Present.
Commissioner Overton.
Present.
And Commissioner Neutrauer, I am present. Commissioner Ramey.
Present.
Commissioner Schultz.
Yes, present.
Awesome. Commissioner Walker is not here. Okay, great. So we do not have the June minutes to vote on. And so we do know, though, that there have been some committee reports. So what I would like to ask at this moment, so first of all, thank you. If you all haven't had a chance, hopefully you had a chance to review the Gender Analysis Committee did submit the report. I know that Commissioner Hale submitted the CEDAW report, which we had a chance to discuss previously. And the Governance and Leadership Committee, we did have a chance to discuss the retreat earlier as well. Is there anything in the Gender Analysis Committee report that anyone would specifically like to discuss or have questions around? I know that there was one point that was raised that we may need to discuss either now or we can discuss in August in depth. And so I'm going to actually ask our two co-chairs, is there anything that you all wanted us to kind of discuss to give you all next steps? It kind of looked like the next steps could kind of be worked out because it was a matter of whether or not we complete some things this year versus next year. So is there anything that you wanted us to vote on or give guidance on at this moment in today's meeting? Or is that something that can still be worked out?
I don't think there's anything to be voted on today. Yeah, it was just the request for discussion at a point where it makes sense. And as Sharon said, the retreat might make sense or, in the future.
Okay, well, I just want to say, first of all, everyone is doing great work. And I do really appreciate how you all have made time to get together and to check in with each other and to keep things moving forward. It looked like it was a really awesome meeting. And I'm very excited to see how intentional everyone is being and working together to get things moving forward. And also, I think it's important to publicly bring to light how intentional the work has been around being intersectional and also finding partners to do the work. Because again, there's no reason why we can't expand who we bring into this work, especially if we're looking to be intersectional. So I was very excited to see that specific conversation, and I'm very excited to see the work of all the committees moving forward. So thank you all so much for the really great work. It was really exciting report to read. So thank you. Okay, so
and we had a fun meeting. And we had a fun meeting.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was great. We clowned
That doesn't
them.
surprise me. You all got a lot of work done, so it doesn't surprise me at all. So I'm actually really excited to hear that too, because the work should be fun. It's work, but it should be fun. And so with the consent agenda, we're just voting to accept the reports from the Gender Analysis Committee and Judy's CEDAW report. Do I have a motion to accept those two reports?
I make a motion to accept the two reports that were just named.
Wonderful. Second.
I second the motion.
Awesome. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. Okay, great. So those will be entered into our records under our July meeting. And also, I just want to say thank you again to our first vice chair for stepping in to take care of our secretary's duties today, as our secretary is not able to be with us. And sadly, of course, ever in support, it is important to note that our secretary has stepped down. Unfortunately, Commissioner Hall has some conflicts that could not be moved. And so regretfully sent me an email today. We are going to miss her very much. Her contribution has been huge since she has joined. And I just want to take a quick second to celebrate the work that she has done and stepping in to be secretary immediately and coming into the commission. And so we are going to be working with the Governance and Leadership Committee to identify installing an interim secretary until it's time to have our next wave of elections. So I am very excited to move forward to new business. We have a very, I think we all think, exciting presentation from Megan Rose, the director of the Center for Women in the National Council for Jewish Women, and Anna, is it Harilla or Harilla?
Harilla.
Harilla.
I appreciate that.
Don't want to mess up your name. Names are important. Who is the
Appreciate that.
manager of online engagement and strategy at Denny Civic Solutions. And so we're very excited to have you. You're going to share some really important information with us about some great work that you've been working on. And we're excited to listen and to engage in some Q&A. And so please share with us what you're going to share today, what you've been working on, and we're excited. So take it away. I'll turn it over to you two.
Well, first, thanks for having us, and thanks to Morgan for making the connection that this would be a great place to bring the opportunity to engage in the Family Care Act campaign. So I think Anna should kick us off and I'm happy to contribute the perspective of a participating organization in the campaign and what it's like to recruit a storyteller and how important and what an opportunity we possess with this ongoing campaign. So Anna's definitely our expert, and I'm here to provide perspective and talk about how easy it is to support the campaign.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So the Family Care Act, first and foremost, and my role in it is working with the campaign for running social media and back-end communication projects. I wouldn't consider myself a policy expert by any means, so any questions that I can't answer, I will happily follow up on with anybody that wants to answer. But really just about the campaign itself and what the Family Care Act is, if you aren't familiar with it, we are working to establish paid family and medical leave in Pennsylvania. This is the second round through Harrisburg right now, but we're very proud of it. You know, it's bicameral, bipartisan legislation that we haven't seen anywhere else in the country. So it's great. We have some very strong leaders behind it and very engaged legislators. So the policy itself would have a small payroll deduction from employees across the state that would pretty much amount to about 59 cents for every $100 earned. So somebody making about $35,000 would put in $3.96 a week. So not too much, but it is enough so that when you're going into it and you need it, you're able to receive it. And we're really recognizing, 14% of the US workforce has access to paid family leave, and that was before COVID and even less now. And so, only 6% of low wage workers have any access compared to 22% of high wage. And so we're really trying to make sure that this is a widespread program and it is everlasting and it's not a temporary fix, right? And so this works in a way that when you're applying as an individual for, your own recovery from, if it's COVID, if it's, your own recovery from some other illness, if you break something, if you are a military personnel and you're recovering from PTSD, you have 20 weeks of paid leave. And that's done through the statewide average weekly wage. It's done a calculation so that those that are making less regularly receive a higher percentage back during that time off. And it's reversed for the opposite. So if you're already earning a high wage, when you need time off, and if you don't have access, you're not engaging in a company policy that's existing, and you go into this for 20 weeks, you receive a little bit less, right? And so that's for your personal and individuals that are caregivers and looking to help, their loved ones, parents, their children, and anybody within the house, working to expand the definition of family that doesn't look the same for everybody, right? That's 12 weeks of paid family or medical leave. And so we're really proud of the legislation so far. Like I said, we've had really great both sides of the aisle engaging in it and supporting it and pushing it forward. But as of right now, we're always looking for more advocates. We're always looking for more people to be on the front lines and engaging with legislators. And so my first plug of my presentation is for anybody that is willing or interested in helping pass paid family and medical leave in Pennsylvania, to text family to 52886 and to sign up for our advocacy campaigns. And we don't reach out too often, but when we do, we always appreciate it when people come through. And so sometimes that's a text blast, saying send something out on your Twitter and use the hashtag Family Care Act, or it's sending a direct email to your legislator with an email itself. And so that goes a long way. But what Megan so graciously referenced earlier, right now we're trying to collect as many stories as we can. We've learned that the power of pushing legislators is making sure that we have as many people represented as possible. And that is largely done through individual stories. We love getting text stories so we can recreate them with a photo of you and your family or somebody else, but especially videos. We have to be in social spheres, and that means Facebook and that means Twitter. And the best reach that we can get there is through individuals that are willing to record themselves and say why. Why does paid leave affect you? Why would paid leave help you? And we've got wonderful single parent stories. We've had some fantastic non-birthing stories. And we've had a lot of individuals come forward and say, even when I had paid leave or I had access to it, COVID really showed that, not everyone does. And I think first and foremost, though, remembering that this is a need that's lasted well before the pandemic. This is just more people were affected this way, and it has become a higher priority. And so the Family Care Act right now is first and foremost on all of our plates and pushed forward, and trying to connect the dots that there is a whole new group of people with disabilities coming out of COVID. And so once again, we're always looking for more stories. And I encourage you to look at the Family Care Act's website, familycareact.com, and read some of the amazing stories from individuals who've shared their stories already. Or email me directly if you would be interested in either collecting stories for us or sharing your story yourself. And my email is Anna, A-N-N-A, @DennyCivicSolutions.com. And that's D-E-N-N-Y, Civic Solutions. But yeah, I just could not appreciate it more being able to have this opportunity to talk about the Family Care Act. So I will turn it over to Megan as our coalition representative to get her take on the campaign. Thank you.
Awesome job, Anna. And just to provide a perspective as an organization that's been supporting the campaign, been a part of the coalition now for over a year, probably close to a year and a half. Our monthly campaign calls, if you can think of someone who in your network, or maybe perhaps it's you, who would like to join the coalition, monthly campaign calls that talk about how the legislation is advancing, how it's moving forward, and calls to action. So including, like Anna said, recruiting folks to tell their stories, to ensure that we have a diverse representation of who can benefit from a paid family medical leave, all the way to how to share on your social pages and make sure that folks know. I mean, I've seen a lot of conversation in my social and professional networks because of COVID about the need for paid leave. And many folks right here in Pennsylvania don't know that there is some legislation that would create that option for folks in PA. So just making sure to raise awareness and mobilize people who care about this issue, which I feel, has grown, that population has grown in the last 18 months. So I'm proud to say Center for Women helped recruit a non-birthing parent to tell their story. And that's an example of, the types of inclusive stories we can tell to show, because I think many times in the paid family leave discussion, people, they think about maternity leave, or they think about some pretty specific narratives there. And I think that when Kara told their story, it was really powerful, and what an advocate, Kara is for paid family leave in her workplace, personally, but also in this statewide initiative. So anyway, it's very easy. And in fact, once I gauged Kara's receptiveness to shaping her story in support of the Family Care Act, simply connected her with Anna, and the rest, is history. So she helped shape that story to compel legislators to see that people like Kara, adoptive parents, deserve the same leave options as those who maybe are birthing parents. So that's one example, but I think the other pieces are, and Anna, correct me if I'm wrong, you are interested in caregivers who identify as male, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's
Absolutely.
definitely a focus. And, certainly caring for aging or ill loved ones is a story to tell as well. So anyway, I know that fits nicely with the policy priorities of the Gender Equity Commission. So just excited to get the word out and invite more participation, more stories to get this legislation passed. So
Absolutely.
Thank you both so much for that. Commissioners, any questions, comments, follow-ups? And also, again, yes, thank you, Morgan, for facilitating this presentation. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Anna and Megan. I'm a policy nerd, so I'm just always here to leverage what's happening on the ground and translate it into actual change and have people recognize that they're part of the change. And so this is a very, very basic question, but does this campaign have a time frame, or is it just essentially until legislators move on this?
I'd say I don't think we have a hard time frame right now. But because of our bipartisan support, we are expecting this to move quickly. We have especially hope in the Senate right now, so we're really happy about that. And we're calling on, L&I members right now to be pushing this to a vote. We were able, before the COVID hit us last year, to have a hearing in the Senate in Harrisburg, and we had a lot of people interested. It was a packed room, definitely not COVID safe then, but it was great to see, the level of engagement and the interest in Harrisburg, the number of aides we had there and the engaging questions. We had fantastic testimony from a lot of our partners that are within the CARE campaign right now. So we're hopeful, but yeah, we don't have it passed right now. It's not up for a vote right now, but we are hopeful it'll be moving forward, especially as we've broadened the scope of some, descriptions of family. If we've been, pushing forward with the connection with COVID and how many more people are impacted by this. Thank you. That's a good question.
Thank you so much for that. That is a good question. Any other commissioners' questions or comments? Yes, Commissioner Ramey, Jesse.
Megan and Anna, thank you so much for being here to talk about this. And I just wanted to remind everybody that when we were talking about our own policy recommendations last year around this very issue, we reached out and connected with this campaign because you all are doing such amazing work. And you all helped us understand that we really didn't want to include this as a city level recommendation, but rather because there's so much work going on at the state level, and that this really needs to be a state level policy intervention rather than a city level. In fact, having each city take this on city by city sort of was counterproductive to what this campaign is trying to do at the state level. So I just wanted to remind us collectively that we've engaged with this issue, with this campaign. We've sort of shouted out and lifted up their work in our own policy recommendations and avoided trying to duplicate what they're doing at the city level, because it's really important that this happen at the state level. So I really thank you for this work. It's super important. It's a good example, I think, of the way that a city level commission can support something that's happening statewide. And in fact, where we can make better equitable change when we work together to get some of this done at the state level. I wondered, Amanda, is this something we could put in our newsletter? Is there another way we could sort of lift up this call for action, inviting people to share stories? I know we can do it through our individual networks as well.
So Jesse, thank you for that. And actually it's funny because I think you and I were thinking the same thing. I was actually going to ask before they go, if they could share how the commission could best support the work. Again, to your point, whether it's sharing on social media individually and sharing in the newsletter and maybe providing a link on our website, perhaps even. But what would be most helpful for you all from us in terms of continuing that support of this really important work?
I'll start just by saying, you know, as a coalition member, I'll be participating in what sounds like some in-person activities at the end of August for Black Breastfeeding Week. So I'm really interested in if you learn about in-person events, being a representative in person there to try to gather stories from folks who might be in attendance. Because I think that I feel like the window for that might be a little short, right? Depending on how the fall and winter look with COVID. So would love to, if you hear about an in-person event that you think would be a great place to capture stories from participants about the importance of paid family medical leave, I'd be glad to consider it and attend. So that would be my request. And I'm sure Anna has all kinds of ideas for what else you could do.
Honestly, I think you guys all nailed it on the head. I think for the most part, it is a lot of individual advocacy for this. You know, it's relying on networks. It's making sure individuals, because you can put out a blanket statement and say, we would love your stories. But it is the individual that has to sit down and record the story. So the more you can engage with people on one-on-one basis, the better. So I always want to reference the Family Care Act right now is housing what we call a story corner. And so we have a lot of single mother stories. We have a lot of people with disabilities that have shared their stories. We have some father stories up there now. And so I think being able to give those examples and kind of see, you know, this, oh, so that qualifies as paid leave. Oh, that is where I should have been paid for that time off. You know, I think that's the most valuable thing, because people don't realize that these are instances where, yes, you can go to your full-time job for 8-10 hours and then having to go home, take care of somebody. You know, if you have a family member that needs, you know, nursing assistance or something like that, and you're doing the off hours, those aren't off hours. Those are, you know what I mean? Like realizing that, you know, your health and the health of your loved ones is a priority here. And those are instances where you should really be able to have the opportunity to help them heal so that you can be there for them, or even so that you can heal. And so, yeah, I would reference, you know, making sure you're promoting that. If you could share something in the newsletter, that'd be great. I'd be happy to put something together for you and share some links. Two, we have another petition coming out here in the next 2 weeks. I can share that with you. But yeah, it is a lot of hands-on, one-on-one work. Yeah, because those stories are not easily generated. I think people really do need to see the examples and know why it's important. But yeah, I'm so excited you're interested in sharing more. Thank you.
Well, and I wonder too, I hope this isn't, you know, uncouth, but I wonder if there might be a commissioner who would have a personal story to share about the importance of paid family medical leave. So I'll just ask that tough question and then skedaddle out of here. So, but that's
I love
something.
it. Megan, you never leave an opportunity unturned. And I tell you what, though, there's something to be said for that, because you know what they say about not speaking out. There's several phrases around that. So no, I mean, it's important. And you know, I think that's a possibility. I think there's a distinct possibility. So I will leave it at that, because I'm not going to name anyone, but I think there's a distinct possibility. And so okay, so it sounds like right now the most important thing is sharing the information, but being intentional too. If there's people such as ourselves or people that we know that we can say, hey, you know, your story is important, sharing the information, getting it out through our personal networks. And then of course, you know, continuing to uplift this important work through our platform, because I mean, that's the biggest tool that we have as a commission. Thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. I can tell you as a new parent that I am so appreciative And then I hope that in the very near future, no one else has to confront the reality of bringing a new life into the world or supporting a life or a family member, and then also confronting the fact that there's going to be a loss of income. It's not a fun place to be. So that's all I will say on that. But again, thank you, Morgan, for facilitating this presentation. And we will follow up, and we will ensure that we find a way to connect with you, to get that information from you, and work with the mayor's office to get that information out to the public. And then, we will all, as take on the task of sharing out and advocating as we're able to do ourselves. And then again, if any commissioners do decide to share personal stories, they just reach out to you, Anna.
That would
Directly?
be perfect.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, you all heard that.
Thank you.
Any?
I was gonna just quickly say, you both can send me any follow-up information. I'm happy to send it.
Thank you, Morgan. I wasn't going to publicly ask that of you, but I really appreciate you volunteering.
Thank you.
for that.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So, and
Yes,
I
thank
will
you.
see myself out. So allow the good work to continue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Thanks
Bye.
again. This was actually perfect timing because Henry is not going to be joining us until about 4:40. So Jordan, I know that you have some updates, and also we're eager to see you because we're eager to talk about some of the great information you shared from last time. So I'm going to turn it over to you now to share your important updates.
Sure. So I really only have one technically I have two. The first one being that the LGBTQIA+ Commission actually just selected their officers. So they have 3 co-chairs. They will likely make a public announcement about that in the near future. We're kind of still working through the process of writing as a collective and publicizing the commission's work. The co-chairs are Lucas Salerno, Sue Kerr, and Christopher Robinson, all really phenomenal people who have, serious experience in the community, but also are very much committed to the work of the commission. So very excited for them. My last meeting with them was last week. This is my last meeting with the GEC. I'm actually leaving in 2 weeks. So thank you, first and foremost. My second update is that tomorrow the mayor is signing the youth bullying policy executive order. That is going to be at 10 a.m. at the Ormsby Recreation Center in the South Side. You are all welcome to join. Just let me know if you do plan on coming. Those are my last 2 big updates. Because I'm leaving in 2 weeks, my work is kind of slowing down. So those are the 2 main items that I have for y'all. I know I mentioned the executive order signing last week, but if anyone has any questions about those 2 items or just anything in general, I can answer questions as well.
Thank you so much, Jordan. So first of all, how exciting for the LGBTQIA+ Commission and selecting their leadership. Again, I cannot emphasize enough how excited we are to partner and work with them and support their work. So very exciting, and we appreciate your work on that commission. Thank you again for the reminder. And so commissioners who are interested in attending tomorrow's executive order signing, should they reach out to you directly?
Yeah, that would be great. If you just want to either message me or shoot me an email, I can put my email address. Oh, there's no chat. It's just jordan.fields@pittsburghpa.gov. So just shoot me an email and I'll make sure that I know you're coming.
And then I will turn it over to commissioners for questions. I do want to put it out there though, I know that the leadership was just named. So who would be the best person to follow up either with supporting the work, partnering, or following up on the menstrual, the bathroom accessibility work?
I can connect you with the co-chairs of the commission. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to just maybe chat via email, and I can set up a Zoom call or something. But
Okay, that
at
would
any
be
of the three.
fabulous before you go, just because
Absolutely.
I know how excited commissioners are to support that work. And so, you know, while we have you, you know, you're such an important connection, so between us and they at the moment. And so thank you for that. But regarding the other pieces, I do want to give commissioners a chance to ask any questions that they have. And we are going to miss you.
Thank you. Thank you. Same, right back at you all. This has been a very short but wonderful year, and I really appreciate working with you all. So
You've been great, and I know I can say we have appreciated all of the important information that you have brought to us every month. We appreciate your hard work, your intentional work, and you know, we certainly look forward to working with whoever, you know, partners with us in the future. However, there is only one Jordan Field, and we're very excited for all that you have coming. We know that you're going to do great things. Please just don't forget us as you know, climb through the incredible career that you're going to have. And, you know, we look forward to seeing your future advocacy, because we know this is not the end for you, but just the beginning, especially in this space. And so thank you for everything you've done.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
On that note, we do have a few minutes. I do want to recognize that we were going to end with Henry. And so today is actually the last meeting of our current executive director. And so we have a few minutes. And so Anu, if there's anything that you would like to say, I would like to give you the floor for a few minutes before we move on to our next presentation. Uh-oh, you're muted.
Sorry, tech difficulties that everyone's having. I know, I'm sorry about that. I just wanted to say, I just feel like I know, my God, the world and a global pandemic, all of you have individual challenges, and then everyone's struggling, and you all are just doing amazing work. And I just want to say thank you for putting that all in. As Jordan can attest, the mayor's office is in a whirlwind of chaos, which is understandable with the primary results. So I am working with them to make sure that you have a liaison as soon as possible, and I've left instructions for the next meetings. But the mayor's office will be deciding what they decide. So good luck and thank you. And if there are any questions, let me know. I'll of course be around and make sure that there's enough continuity, because I don't want you all to lose any momentum into the future to keep doing the great work.
Thank you, Anu. We appreciate that. And, you know, it's before we move to Henry, I just want to say that, as we all know, transitioning from one administration to another is always has challenges. And we certainly appreciate the continued support of the Peduto administration and how they have stepped up to ensure continuity and support as our inaugural executive director departs us. And so I do want to thank them for their constant support and presence in this time. And we know that as we are closing a chapter with our inaugural ED, and thank you, Anu, that we are looking forward to the support that we will continue to have. And again, want to just thank Mayor Peduto and his entire administration for ensuring the creation with Natalia Rudiak and City Council of the GEC and ensuring our presence and over these last few years. So thank you so much for that. And so, Mr. Pyatt, we are excited to have you. And so we are not having public comment today, but so you have the floor from now until about 5 o'clock. And as we've discussed, I know you're going to share with us some really exciting information that many of us have been eager to learn about. So about 10 minutes or so for presentation, and then we'll have some time for Q&A for commissioners. But we're really excited you were able to join us today. And Henry Pyatt, I am now going to turn it over to you. If you could just share with everyone who you are and your role in the administration, and then go ahead and share.
So I'm here to talk about the Financial Empowerment Center, but I'm the Economic Opportunity Manager. So I'm a news counterpart for small business stuff, neighborhood revitalization stuff, and individual people building wealth stuff. And so the last one's what I'm here to talk about. The principal product of that segment of my work is the Pittsburgh Financial Empowerment Center. It's exactly what it sounds like. So what happens there, the problem is this, right? So a lot of big financial decisions we have to make or strategies that we could most efficiently employ to reach our goals are difficult to understand. They aren't obvious. They aren't necessarily written down somewhere. And a lot of tools that we might use to help solve financial problems like loans or other financial devices are super, super, super complicated. And they have tons and tons of rules and pages of fine print. And so if folks are going to succeed at this stuff, they need somebody to help them, right? And we know, through a lot of the equity research that has been done at the city, but then also just generally, through my education, that that's one way that inequity is perpetuated, is by preventing access to information. Whether that's a domestic partner in a situation and they don't know, how the money's coming in and how the mortgage is getting paid, so they feel like they can't exit a bad relationship, or whether it's a whole class of people in a neighborhood that don't have a bank that they could go to, or don't have people in their family that could explain to them how they would go about getting a mortgage. Preventing that access to information prevents people from fully participating in systems, and that exacerbates or perpetuates inequity. So that's what we're trying to solve, or nip in the bud, if you will. So what we do at the FEC is we have 4 professional financial counselors, and they're freely available to all adults in Pittsburgh. And that's it, right? It's really that simple. So we got folks, rich folks have been going to Mellon Bank for years, right? And Mellon Bank is like, oh, hey, come on in, sit down, here's a cup of coffee. And they help these rich folks figure out how to most efficiently use their money. They help them understand, what the best investment tool is, or what the best kind of mortgage is, and how to get tax benefits and all that stuff. Well, that's awesome. But now we have that for everybody. Just straight up. So I want to share my screen and just show you our pretty new webpage, because we worked on it really hard. But so first off, this is the FEC. These 5 human beings, right? So from left to right, it's Kristen, Akuma, Jennifer, Becky, and Alicia. They are the staff. And what happens when someone wants to participate with the FEC is they'll contact us, whether it's by phone, email, or webpage, doesn't matter. And we'll set up an appointment. Right now, it's all remote. Normally, these 4 of these people, because Becky's the manager, rotate to different neighborhood centers. So once we, maybe in, let's say September, you'll be able to have in-person meetings again. But for now, it's all on WhatsApp video chat, because it's encrypted, so we know nobody's info is going to get stolen. But what happens is you get hooked up with one of these people, and that's your person. That's it. You stick with it. Well, if you don't like them, you can switch. But hopefully you like them, and then and you stick with them because you build a relationship and you build up trust, right? And the initial appointments we do are 90 minutes. That's where the counselors are going to use more of their kind of social worker type training, which is a component of the training we put them through, and try to understand where somebody's at, what their impediments to success are, emotionally, what's freaking them out. And what their big goals are, and then start to begin to figure out how to gather up relevant information that will help the counselor figure out how to help that person achieve their goals. And then usually on a monthly interval, you're coming back and meeting back with this counselor, checking on progress, figuring out next steps. And the reason I'm being vague is because we help people with whatever the heck they want, right? So somebody might come in and they're like, all right, I'm 18, I want to go to college, but the student loan thing's freaking me out. Help me figure this out. And we'll be like, okay, here, let's look at different options. Let's look at standardized interest rates. Let's look at, what would happen if you couldn't pay, and help them understand their options and help them make a decision. It could be like, hey, I work at a pizza shop and I want to own my own pizza shop, but that's all I know. And then, we'll say, okay, well, let's refer to a business expert at one of the SBDCs or at the URA or Bridgeway or RCI, and then we'll figure out, you can work with them to figure out, what the basic needs are for you to establish your business and what tools are out there to contribute to that. And then come back and to us and say, okay, well, the URA said I need to save up 20 grand and I can borrow money from here and here, but I'm going to need, $2 grand in my hand to begin the process. And in order to do that, and then the financial counselor will help that person manage their personal finances and perhaps improve their credit so that they can, get to the front door of receiving service from those small business technical assistance providers. So, we really do whatever the heck our customer says is their goal. And so, so that's the basics of it. Folks can come visit us as many times as they like. We've had some customers come 14 times every month. And then we've had other folks come twice and they're straight and they know what they wanted. And then once we have relationships established, you can maybe just call your counselor quick because it's like, oh, I got this letter from the mortgage company. What the heck does this mean? Stuff like that. And you can just have a quick chat with them and show them what's going on and they'll help you figure it out. But it really is as simple as it sounds, right? Like we took some awesome professional nonprofit workers who already love to help people. We put them through a really intensive full-time 4-month education program to make sure that they were qualified and able to give advice on all these different matters. And then we set them loose out to benefit the citizens of Pittsburgh, and that's it. So I don't want to over-explain it because we put a lot of effort into it being as simple as possible. Oh, the one thing I would like to ask from you all, though, is just to tell people, right? So we have a partnership with AART, and that's because we figure that a lot of folks, when they don't know how to do something, they approach older members of their family and, ask for advice. So with that assumption in mind, we have a partnership with AARP. I go to different meetings, there are different meetings around the city, and then explain to them how to explain what this is and give them little tiny business cards that they could, give to their nieces and nephews when they ask them, what should I do when I want to get a mortgage, or is this apartment lease reasonable? So that's what I'd like to ask for from you guys. It's just to spread the word, right? Because we've served so far, actually, I'll share my screen again. We served over 1,000 individuals now, and they have collectively reduced their debt by, here it is, $1.6 million. They collectively increased their savings by $1.3 million. So we're doing good, and we've been seeing an uptick in traffic since, let's say, last summer. But we have about a third of our capacity going unused right now. And as much as I love the fact that our awesome employees get a little extra free time, I think we need to utilize this capacity to the benefit of Pittsburghers. And so, evangelizing is the favor I'm asking for. But who's got questions?
I will turn it over to commissioners for questions. Thank you, Henry.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, go ahead. What do you want me to do, Amanda? Do you want me to
You go right ahead.
All righty. Jesse.
We're so informal here. Henry, thank you so much for this information. I'm going to ask the $1 Million Gender Equity Commission standard question, which is, are we collecting disaggregated data on the people who are using this service?
Yes. Let me show you my client dashboard.
And thank you. This is so exciting.
Yeah, we know that the vast majority of our clients, it's like 55% are women, like 60% are Black. Obviously I have stats about each individual human, but I can't show those to people because it's illegal. I promise I wouldn't, so I won't. Sorry, I'm slow, but I have this really cool dashboard that shows aggregated data. I can't show you disaggregated data, but I have it.
take your time as you're pulling that up. While Henry is getting that, if he's able to. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I do. So this harkens back to a couple years ago when we were just starting to craft the Workforce Equity Initiative. We met with Henry. Yeah, you're nodding, you remember us. That's wonderful. Because we were curious about how this I think there's some very obvious overlaps between the Financial Empowerment Center and the work around the workforce equity, particularly for the AAUW WorkSmart training. And so my question is, what would be the best way for the Financial Empowerment Centers and our AAUW project to cross-refer? We had talked about, helping each other, referring clients, connecting, possibly, virtual hosting, all that good stuff. How can we do that, and how can it continue beyond this administration? Can it continue beyond this administration?
Yeah, so knowing full well that elections will continue to happen, we have established the service outside of the city, right? So those humans are not employees of the city of Pittsburgh, but rather they are employees of a nonprofit in Southside called Advantage Credit Counseling that was doing similar-ish work for like 20 years. So through an RFP process, we selected them, and that's for this reason, right? Like, I don't want this to change, and to be perfectly frank, the way it's funded is that Sarah and Neighborhood Allies, Sarah Dialumperi, if any of you guys know her, I've been working with her for, I don't know, nigh on 20 years. But anyway, her and I work together to raise funds for a complete suite of financial wellness products, including the free tax prep through United Way, including Fund My Future, including the Bank On program. And so it's only $30,000 a year of city general fund money that supports the service, and it costs $350,000 a year to run. So the city's paying for less than 10%. And so if that happened to go away or something, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. That said, I think the city should pay for it fully, like recycling, because it should just be a public service, like always for everyone. And then we should grow or reduce the number of counselors, annually, depending on need. But, we're not there yet. We're good. But hey, we have it now, so that's better than we were 4 years ago. Yeah, is that a reasonable answer to the question?
I think there was a second half to that, and that was the cross-referencing and how we can, how the workforce equity work could and the empowerment centers could support each other, since there's so much crossover.
Okay, so for me, I look at processes, right? So like, what are the processes that you're trying to establish through your work? And then I can look at that process and have some understanding of what the emotional state of the individual human is that would be participating at different points in the process, and then figure out at what point we should tell them about this or have a counselor stop by to a meeting or whatever, right? So like right now we're going through that for eviction prevention, and we're working with the county's eviction prevention program, which provides emergency grants to help people pay their rent for up to 5 quarters in a row, 15 months. And so there's a whole process to that. Like, you have to ask for help, then you have to talk to a person, then you have to fill out a piece of paper, and then you have to show some proof, right? And so if somebody needs this, then the beginning is not the right time to talk to them about planning for their long-term financial future, because they're more worried about eating dinner and not being homeless. And, so that needs to be the focus then. So what we're going to do now is, like, once they come back to reapply, perhaps the 3rd time, maybe the 4th time, then we'll have a conversation about like, hey, can I have a financial counselor give you a ring on your day off, and you can have a little chat and see if you're into it. So that's how it works, right? So you can just sub out, whatever program, and I'll sit down and help you figure it out.
So Henry, I'm wondering, and I know your time is very precious, so we do appreciate you being here. I'm wondering, just throwing this out there, how much it would make sense for you to have a follow-up meeting with the Workforce Equity Committee, and perhaps even seeing how, because there's also an opportunity that some of the other work with the community workforce equity piece might even work into your empowerment centers and perhaps even neighborhood allies. And so I'm wondering if there's an opportunity to align schedules and to see, you know, if there can be a meeting, because again, it makes sense for us to support, get the word out about this really important work you're doing. And there's some definite alignment and overlap. And since the administration is helping to fund both of these initiatives, you know, you know, I think it would be great to have a conversation with you and the gender analysis and perhaps and the workforce equity committees.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are totally slow for July and August. So yeah, you got it. No problem. I can promise.
This is Janet Manuel on the phone. So I was just about to say that. So thank you, Amanda. That I was going to say thank you for the presentation, Henry, and that I would be connecting with you so that way there can be that conversation with the Workforce Equity Committee. So you'll at least hear that reach out for me on that part, because I do believe that there is a connection and how we can merge both resources together for the benefit of the constituent. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be very happy to just, because I think that's what it takes, is we just have to look at the actual process that a client, you know, experiences step by step, and I'm sure we can figure it out. So up here, you're seeing some of our, this is the dashboard that I look at all the time just to see how stuff is going. You can see that we've served 1,019 individual unique clients now, which is awesome, because I was on KDK on Friday saying, hooray, we got 1,000. And so I think we got 20 out of that. But to look at the humans we serve, they are 67% women. I was wrong about that, which, you know, stands to reason when you think about the fact that women have, in at least in the culture I'm in, have been excluded from, you know, financial educational materials or information, right? Like my mom, for example, suffered from that norm. And most of our, it's 48% are Black now, and 36 are white, which, you know, as I'm sure you guys know, is radically different from the actual makeup of the city, which is like a quarter Black. Yeah, and our age range is pretty diverse, but lots of young adults, 21 to 35. That's the big popular group. Yeah. So, yeah, we do have disaggregated data, but I can't show you.
Really
Any
cool.
more questions?
Really cool.
Oh, and I got a new URL too. So it's just fecpgh.org. So it's super easy.
That is easy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think I have a little YouTube video too. Like, not that I need to show you, but that way we can, if somebody's interested, or like you're trying to explain this to somebody else, it's like a 15-second ad that just gives you a super basic overview, and it's kind of a cute little animation. The county DHS folks made it for us. Yeah, so I'll find that to share.
While you're doing that, Henry, I do recall the meeting that Sarah referenced, Sarah Hansen referenced earlier. And I got to tell you, you know, from a couple of years ago when the idea was being conceived of and you all were just starting out to where you are now is incredible. So I do want to say kudos to you and your team and the administration for the hard work that you've put into this. And you mean, you've been doing really intentional work to impact lives in the real way. So I do want to just say that, seriously, great work, and thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny because it's weird. It feels like the FEC has been here forever, but it was 2017 when the mayor was like, hey, Michael Bloomberg keeps talking about this thing. It sounds kind of cool. Check it out. Because that's literally how it started.
And given the tough financial state,
cool, Bob.
yeah, given the tough financial state people are in, especially, you know, women and non-binary folks, you know, this couldn't have come at a better time to be established. And so again, this is very exciting. And I know as long as you're with us, I know I'm excited about the GEC working with you to really kind of, again, gel that financial piece and to get the word out and support your work. So thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, that's totally the hardest part because we're really proud of the product we built, but we don't have an advertising budget.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else, guys? I mean, you know, I'm glad to help. I look forward to scheduling that work session regarding is it entrepreneurs or job seekers that you guys want to work with? Is it entrepreneurs or job seekers?
It's any, well, for the AAUW piece, it's the whole point of it. It's salary negotiation so individuals can learn to advocate for themselves. However, it's taught through a gendered lens. So people are learning about the wage disparities and the significant challenges that face women and women identified folk when it comes to either negotiating a salary, negotiating a promotion, negotiating a raise, et cetera. So that's it. It's a 2-hour training. It's very accessible. Again, everyone gets to walk away with basic tools on how to advocate for yourself. So, you know, you talked about the stages of the people that you work with, and it is for anybody of any gender. It doesn't matter. So anyone who's a job seeker or who has a job or wants to move or just wants some information, anyone is able to take this training, and the city is sponsoring the training. So they're free of charge to anyone who wants to attend them. And so, yeah, it's just, again, we know that it takes so much more, like we need the employers to do their part, but it is an important piece for people to learn about how the different ways they can advocate for themselves with salary and benefits to get, you know, not just what they deserve, but what they need. So that's the crux of it. And, you know, we'll make sure that you have even more information, but as you can see, there's a clear, and then there's the other pieces, of course, but there's a clear, you know, symbiosis there. And so now that you're established, you know, it's exciting to see the possibilities of partnership and support, because I think it's really meaningful. And both, again, thank you so much, Janet, for kind of, you know, putting it out there to get that meeting with the Workforce Equity Committee going. And then at some point, you know, we'll be incorporating, there's some exciting companion work that the Gender Analysis Committee is doing as well to go along with that. So I'm really excited about, you know, establishing this formalized partnership. And like you said, beyond even just this year.
Well, I think I'll invite the counselors to participate then, because that's probably going to be the most efficient way for them to make good referrals to you. But then, yeah, I would love to get referrals from you as well.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Henry. Again, thank you so much. Everyone, it is 5:02. I would say, you know, we've gotten together. We had some remarks. We had 2 presentations. So I'd say we're doing pretty well, all things considered. Again, I want to thank all of our presenters today. The information is really, it's really great to see all of the great work so many people are doing out there and the many ways that we can all support. Again, you know, this is, you know, not goodbye, but, you know, our ED, Anu, this is Anu's final meeting with the Gender Equity Commission. Jordan Fields, final meeting with the Gender Equity Commission. And I do want to recognize that Commissioner Corbel is with us. And so I want to make sure that is on the record. Thank you for being here. It's so nice to see your face. Everyone, thank you so much. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I have a
Let's
second.
roll. Let's roll. We've been at it forever. Henry, thank you for your presentation. It was wonderful.
Do I have a second?
Thanks. Glad to participate.
I'll second. It's Jaleesa.
Thank you so much. Jaleesa has seconded. You all have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to seeing you all and engaging with you all in August and forward. Thank you all for all that you do, and see you soon.